Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Ha, Racha, Chodash, Ma'amah. Double honors to the elder apostles of GMS and their elders. Double honors to my elder, Aharawan Ban Yasharal of the Lions Den Camp, here in Jacksonville, Florida. Salutations to the sincere Akim, pushing his truth and sincerity around the four corners of this earth. I'm Nakar Kharab Ban Yasharal, coming out of the Lions Den Camp of Yasharal, here in Jacksonville, Florida. Not today, I'll be coming out with a lesson. And the title of this lesson is The Third Woe. And of course, is this article that I was reading, and it says here, Netanyahu brushes off calls for restraint, saying Israel would decide how to respond to Iran's attack. Now, this is the title of this article. I will read the main important part of it, because the rest of the article, it just covers the recent retaliation and or response by Iran to Israel for doing what it did by blowing up the Iranian consulate. And then after that, it just turned into a bunch of word salad. So I'm gonna read the most important part of this article. So as you can see, I just gotta say, Benjamin Netanyahu, he is not listening, and this goes into the least of the flock shall draw them out, because they are those Amalekites. They're the least, According to Obadiah, they're small. They're not the majority on the earth. But it says the least of the flock shall draw them out, and what that means is, those 48 fakers are going to draw Babylon America into the war, and that's going to be the Third War, the Third World War. In the which, after that happens, Yasharallah will be established, and there will be no more Edomites or no more nothing outside of righteousness established on this earth. So without further ado, let's get right into it. It says Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Wednesday his country would be the one to decide whether and how to respond to Iran's major air assault earlier this week, brushing off calls for restraint from close allies. So there you go. That's prophecy happening. The least of the flock, again, the least of the flock shall draw them out. So this big-eared Edomite that looked like a Smurf is not listening. He's taking the action into his own hands, when for about 45 years and longer, the Amalekites, Edomites, have been attacking Iran, and Iran has been taking it on the chin and not doing anything about it. And this recent attack was one of those assumptions that Iran was going to make a threat and posture and not do nothing, like it did with Soleimani and the other guy that got killed that was an Iranian. But let's continue. It says Israel has vowed to respond to Israel's unprecedented attack without saying when or how, leaving the region bracing for further escalation after months of unrest, linked to the ongoing war in Gaza. So, of course, they talking about Israel is going to has vowed to respond, but when you look at it and you look at the truth and the evidence of things, it is the equivalent of someone hitting a person, and then that person defending themselves against the person that hit them, and now the other person that started the attack initially is now trying to act like the person that is defending themselves and attacking back is wrong. That's basically what this is. But let's continue. It says Israel's allies have been urging Israel since the attack to hold back on any response that could spiral out of control, that could start World War III. But the war has already been started. If you really want to be clear about it, or real, it was NATO. Europe started it. Esau started it. You remember with the Russian, with Russia and all that? Boom. Boom, boom. Ukraine proxy. Now you see how things are connecting. But let's continue. It says Israel's allies have been urging Israel since the attack to hold back on any response that could spiral out of control or start the Third World War. These calls were repeated on Wednesday during visits by the British and German foreign ministers. So these Edomites, it's like, oh no, we don't want a war, but it's going to happen because thus saith the Lord. It says the diplomatic pressures came as Iran's president warned that even the tiniest invasion of its territory would bring a massive and harsh response, and Iran can back that up. Really and truly, Iran can back that up. They can really back it up. Remember, Iran is a military state. You got to think, when that recent attack happened, well, when Iran responded to Israel for the attack on the Iranian consulate, it cost Iran a few $1 million to produce drones. It cost Israel tens of billions of dollars to try and defend itself. Just so you can understand. So if Iran was to fully go on the offensive, it would be no contest. Let's continue. So the diplomatic pressures came as Iran's president warned that even the tiniest invasion of its territory would bring a massive and harsh response. Violence, meanwhile, surged on Wednesday between Israel and the Iran-backed Lebanese militant Hezbollah group, which fired a volley of rockets and drones on northern Israel. The attack wounded at least 14 Israeli soldiers, 6 seriously. So that's 14 plus 6. The army said. The military said it struck Hezbollah targets deep in Lebanon in response. Let's see. Continuing. It says speaking to a meeting of his cabinet, not a Jew, Salakia. I don't want to say it. I said what I said. Said he met Wednesday with both visiting foreign ministers and thanked them for their country's support, but he said Israel will make the call on its own on how to respond, despite all sorts of suggestions and advice coming from Israel's allies, some of whom, including Babylon America, the United States, and the United Kingdom, and France, helped Israel repel the missile drone assault. That's kind of like some tomfoolery, because if you really look into it, Israel got clapped. They got jacked up real decent. The Iron Dome didn't do nothing. Iran overwhelmed it. But let's continue. It says, I want to be clear. We will make our decisions ourselves. The state of Israel will do whatever is necessary to defend itself, not a Jew said. How can you defend yourself against someone when you were the one to attack first? How can you defend yourself against someone that you've been attacking for 45 plus years? Just a thought. So let's continue. It says, despite the tough rhetoric, Israel appears unlikely to attack Iran directly, because they know if there's a direct attack, Iran is going to respond. But again, despite the rhetoric, the tough rhetoric, the posturing rhetoric, Israel appears unlikely to attack Iran directly without at least the support of its top ally, Babylon America, the U.S., but it could resort to more covert methods, such as targeting senior Iranian commanders or Iran-backed groups in other countries, or launching a cyber attack. It's unclear how Iran would respond. It is very clear. Iran said the tiniest anything they responded. So it's very clear. But it says, given the heightened tensions and any miscalculation by either side risks setting off a regional war. Well, Iran said, "Well, we ready. We ain't looking for no war, but we ready." And this is what these Edomites and these other countries are trying to avoid. But not a Jew is going to lead them right on into that war. They're going to snatch America right on into it. Because why? Because they're the least of the flock. And it says the least of the flock shall draw them out. Let's continue. I'm probably going to stop right here after this last, this right here. It says, President Joe Biden's administration on Tuesday said it would place new sanctions on Iran. Iran is backed by Russia. So I don't know if Iran is still using the dollar, but I think they've walked away from the dollar or dropping the dollar. So those sanctions are not going to work anyway. It says, Tuesday it said it would place new sanctions on Iran and has worked to coordinate global rebuke of the attack, urging all sides to de-escalate. How you gonna tell us? How you gonna say somebody's attacking when they responded? But see, they want a de-escalation because they don't want no war. But it's gonna happen. He says, U.S. officials said earlier this week that Biden told not a Jew that Washington would participate in any offensive action against Iran. So I'm gonna leave it right there. I ain't gonna go all the way through, because it started to get in the recap of what happened a week ago and word salad. So without further ado, let's get right into it. This is Revelation 11, verse 14. This is the second woe is past. And behold, the third woe cometh quickly. So what is the second woe? The second woe was the Second World War, and it has passed. Now, behold, see, and pay attention, and look. The third woe cometh quickly. The Third World War coming quickly. The Battle of Armageddon. The mountain of troops, Armageddon, over there in the valley of Jehoshaphat, Yahweh-Shaphat. And the Lord is going to gather all the nations' armies of the earth and plead with them there for what they did to the children of Israel and destroy their armies. So a sound of battle is in the land. I'm going to get that. Jeremiah 50 and 22. It says a sound of battle is in the land and of great destruction. And that's what's in the land right now. That is what's going on at this point. A sound of battle is in the land. And it is of what? Great destruction. It's going to be a lot of things get destroyed, especially Babylon, America. And Israel going to get broke up, busted up too. Because the Lord got to burn them Edomites out of there because they don't belong there. Obadiah, verse 2. Or it's one chapter, but whatever. Obadiah chapter 1, verse 2. It says, behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. So the Lord says he has made these Edomites, these nations small among these Edomites small among the heathen. They are greatly despised. Is not the earth, these nations, despising Edom? Do not them Iranians despise those 48 fakers? They do. And it says they are small and greatly despised. So Edom is hated around the four corners of the earth. Especially those over there that's posing and perpetrating a fraud to be a specific people that they are not. Let's continue. Verse 3. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee. Thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high. That saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? So the pride of Esau's heart has deceived him. You know, he was the one that was dwelling in the clefts of the rock. That's where he come from. Petra, Mount Seir. They say whose habitation is high, and now Esau, he's a high habitation, meaning he's dwelling. He's been lifted up. So his habitation is high, and he saith in his heart, in his mind, who shall bring me down to the ground? He think ain't nothing finna happen to me. Verse 4. Wait. Psalms 49. Verse 11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They called their lands after their own name. So their inward thought, Esau's inward thought, is that his house is going to continue forever. His power structure, his wicked rule in the earth will continue forever. Their dwelling places to all generations. Esau think he's just going to keep passing this down and keep the children of Israel in bondage and keep moving in wickedness in the earth, oppressing everybody around the four corners of the earth like he's doing. And they go around calling lands after their own names. America, Africa, Asia, Asiaticus, the Philippines, King Philip, and so forth and so forth. Just to give you a few. But let's continue. Let's jump back to Obadiah. This is verse 4. This is, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord Yahweh. So, though Esau, he exalts himself as the eagle, because the eagle is one of the highest flying birds in the animal kingdom. It can literally fly above the clouds. So Esau has exalted himself like the eagle. He set his nest among the stars, his space stations, his satellites, his other whatever it is he got up there in the firmaments. You know, it says, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord Yahweh. So the Lord says, thence will I bring you down. So it's a for sure fact that Esau will be brought down, and we seeing the downfall now. We're seeing the fall of the wicked, and it is great and yet funny as well, because Esau is clawing. He is trying to fight, and it is not working. He on a slippery slope. No matter how hard he fight, he's still going down. Like Mike Epps said, you're going down. But let's continue. Let's go to Matthew 24. Because this is prophecy that's happening before our very eyes. Matthew 24:6. It says, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass. Not first, but must come to pass. Salakia. But the end is not yet. So we're hearing of wars. The Lord says, well, we will hear of these things. We will hear of wars. We will hear of rumors of wars. The Lord says, what? Don't be troubled. Don't be bothered. Don't be moved. Because these things must come to pass. These things have to happen. The third woe has to happen. These things that we are seeing in the news and what's going on right now, real news, not that propaganda crap on regular TV. You know, we've seen these things, signs in the heavens and in the earth. These are the things that we are seeing. He says, but these things must come to pass. These things have to happen. But the end is not yet. The end still ain't got here yet. The end will be when they push the MOTB. Then the end shall be. Verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. Are we not seeing that right now? Are we not seeing that? China, Russia, BRICS, because BRICS, they're together and they're against. We ain't gonna even get into that because they might try to strike the video, because I didn't say it not a Jew too many times, so I don't care. I'm gonna re-upload it. But nonetheless, we seeing nations rise against nations and kingdom against kingdoms. We're seeing the famines and the pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrow. So we are seeing these things. We are seeing nations fighting nations, kingdoms rising up against kingdoms. We're seeing famines, pestilences in the earth, sicknesses, all kind of manner of things are happening. We're seeing these things today. These are the beginning of sorrows, but it still ain't the end yet. And the Lord gonna keep allowing it to happen. Why? This why. 2nd Esdras 4:37. By measure hath he measured the times, and by number hath he numbered the times. He doth not move nor stir them until the said measure be fulfilled. So the Lord has already set everything up in his time and in his measure. He's already worked it out and planned it. So it's going to happen as it's supposed to happen. And the Lord's not going to do anything until the said measure be fulfilled. Until it's till the Lord say, okay, this one I'm finna do this, and this one that's when it's gonna happen. When the Lord said it's gonna happen. It's already been set up already. Last point. Come on now. This is Amos chapter 5, verse 18. It says, woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord, Yahweh. To what end is it for you? The day of the Lord Yahweh is darkness and not light. So it says, woe to those who desire the day of the Lord. Because the day of the Lord is, he says, to what end is it for you? To what gain or benefit is it for you? If you ain't standing to according to what's right and what's true. It said, because the day of the Lord is darkness and not light. It ain't finna be no pretty day. It's finna be a very, very harsh day. It's gonna be a day of destruction. Shalom.